Committee of the Whole meeting for the Elgin City Council for February 11th, 2026 to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
All right.
Councilmembers Alfaro,
Present.
Dixon,
Present.
Good,
Here.
Martinez,
Here.
Ortiz,
Here.
Powell. Here. Stefan,
Here.
Thorne,
Here.
Mayor Captain.
Here. Approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of January 28th.
So moved.
Approval?
Moved and
Second.
second for approval. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, clerk please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Good,
Yes.
Martinez,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Stefan,
Yes.
Thorne,
Yes.
Mayor Captain.
Yes, the motion is approved 9-0. That brings us to the portion of the meeting where we allow public comment for 3 minutes. First person, somebody crossed out here, so I'm trying to sort through this. Frank Pagani?
Good evening. As a family-owned grocery store, the Elgin Fresh Market has proudly served this community for over 25 years. We care deeply about Elgin and the families who shop with us every day. Over the past 6 years, our industry has faced unprecedented financial strain. Payroll expenses have risen dramatically, healthcare costs have increased, property taxes and insurance premiums have almost doubled, packaging materials have more than doubled, rising tariffs on imported produce, which accounts for approximately 2/3 of the produce consumed in the United States, remains a major concern right now. And despite these mounting pressures, we have worked hard to absorb costs whenever possible rather than just pass them along to our consumers. While we understand and support the city's desire to encourage environmental responsibility, we do not believe a municipal bag surcharge is the right solution. Even if our business is not directly subject to the charge, we understand that. We are deeply concerned that it would place Elgin retailers at a competitive disadvantage and create unintended consequences for our customers. Retailers in the city of Elgin are likely to lose customers to neighboring towns with such a surcharge. This would result in lost sales for local businesses and reduced tax revenue for the city of Elgin. As a business owner, I know firsthand how difficult it is to regain a customer once they choose to shop somewhere else. There are also health concerns. Encouraging reusable bags may create sanitation risks, as many consumers do not regularly wash or sanitize their bags. If the surcharge applies only to certain vendors, it will inevitably create confusion. Educating consumers on which businesses are subject to the charge and which are not will be challenging, and many shoppers may not realize the difference until they reach the checkout, leading to frustration for both the customer and the staff. While a per-bag charge may seem minimal, it adds up, particularly to larger households. The burden would fall directly on our customers, many of whom are families, seniors, and individuals on fixed incomes. For them, this may feel like an added tax on essential items such as groceries. If this surcharge were applied to our stores, the financial impact would be substantial. Plastic bags, which currently cost us 17 cents each, would cost us 45 cents each, roughly 26 times more expensive. And transitioning to the fully paper would increase our weekly costs by about $26,000 a week, or about $21,600 even after accounting for the collected bag fee revenue. For a family-owned business operating on thin margins, which the whole industry runs on small margins, this level of additional expense is unsustainable. If such a policy is to be implemented, it should be done at the state level to ensure fairness and consistency. A municipal approach creates an uneven playing field and incentives consumers to shop outside the city limits. We respectfully urge this council to carefully consider the cumulative financial impact on local businesses and to explore alternative solutions that balance environmental goals with economic sustainability. As a local family-run store, The Elgin Fresh Market is committed to our community and to being part of positive solutions. However, we strongly believe this policy would unintentionally harm businesses and shift consumer spending away from Elgin. Thank you for your time and thoughtful consideration.
Thank you. Cheryl Brumbaugh-Capert.
Hello, my name is Cheryl Brimbach-Hayford. I stand to speak this evening on two things. First, briefly, I urge the City Council to adopt a welcoming city ordinance in support of the residents of Elgin who are faced with the cruel violence of the federal government's immigration enforcement. Such an ordinance is long overdue and should be put into effect as soon as possible, including fully bilingual city services. Second, I urge the City Council to adopt the single-use bag ordinance. I am part of several groups that have been working on this ordinance for a long time now, including the Wild Ones, who have made these reusable shopping bags with help from a grant from the Sustainability Commission. In our eagerness to support this ordinance once it is adopted, these will be offered free to people in the area who need them. These bags are proof of the support among environmental groups in our city and area, and proof that many people are very excited to see this ordinance pass. So Wild Ones have brought a bag for each of you tonight. As Nancy passes them out, I want to note that this ordinance has been in the works for some 9 years, ever since the Sustainability Commission first started working on the issue back in 2017 with leadership from Tia Augustin and John Steffen, among others. Now it is finally time to adopt the ordinance and put all those 9 years of hard work into effect. For the health of our environment, with particular attention to the health of the Fox River, most importantly for all of us who live in Elgin and rely on a healthy, pollution-free environment to maintain our own health and that of our families. Elgin must take action on this as an independent municipality and not wait for the state of Illinois to take action, having already waited 9 years. We should not wait any longer to decrease the plastics pollution represented by single-use plastic bags. Please do the right thing for our human health and the health of our environment. I appreciate the concern of businesses, but there are many, many successful models they may replicate that are found elsewhere in our area, in neighboring cities, in our state and across the country. Stores like Aldi and Costco already prove that this is a successful business model and is not rocket science. Many stores have already discovered that they actually can make a profit by not having to give away single-use plastic bags and charge for sale of paper bags and reusable bags. Please do not be taken in by claims that, quote, compostable or sustainable alternatives are legitimate. Such claims simply represent a way to put off dealing effectively with plastics pollution. The plastics pollution crisis is one that cannot be ignored. It is one of the largest single pollution issues across our globe. It is causing immeasurable harm to our environment locally and around the world. Single-use plastic bags are at the heart of the widespread damage that is happening to our oceans, lakes, rivers, streams, and the wildlife, the fishes and other creatures, birds, mammals that live in and rely on our waters. We haven't even gotten into the issue of microplastics. We could talk for a long time about that. Please do the right thing.
Thank you. Paul Berland.
My name is Paul Berland. I think you guys know me. I spoke last time about this issue, but just want to remind you that Elgin is one of 2 cities in the state of Illinois that have declared a climate emergency, and we really need to show leadership in our state and really pass this ordinance because it's very important for the climate, for one thing, and also the plastic pollution issue. I know it's not popular, as we saw in the poll, but we need to really show strong leadership on the climate, as we are being in a perception of climate emergency leaders. And so I think there's solutions to this. I'm in favor of a plastic bag ban and at least 10 cents for paper bags. It may end up being more than that, but at least 10 cents. So that everybody is, all the money situations are resolved. And I know that in the American people, 1/5 of the American people know that climate change is one of the top 5 priorities in the country. And this is done in a recent poll of 1,000 people, and they found that 1/5 of Americans believe that climate change is it's one of the top 5 issues. So I think we need to really plow forward on this and not step back. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Warren.
Good evening. My name is Mike Warren, and you're going to hear some comments from me that more resemble Frank, our small business owner, who is keenly affected by this potential bag ordinance. Economic development has been a cornerstone of my entire being here, a lifelong resident of Elgin and own businesses here in Elgin. And even though that a bag ordinance isn't going to affect my small businesses, but I think the leadership here is charged with creating a healthy economic engine that allows all of our residents to live, work, and play here with a lot of options. And as I reviewed the bag ordinance, or the single-use bag, this is an economic issue, and I'm not trying to diminish the environmental issue that bags, you can't dispute that they're a problem, but this ordinance really picks winners and losers, not only in our community, but for our community as they have ability to shop any other place. So, not only is it going to be confusing for our residents, like who do I have to pay for a bag and who don't I have to pay for a bag? Why should we pick an ordinance where some people get to play by different rules than other people? This should be across the board. But my strong opinion is this is a state issue. You have we have the 6th largest city in the state of Illinois, and we have an active sustainability commission for years and years and years. Use that tool as an advocate to the state people to say, hey, bags are important to us. We want to create an environment where bags are limited. Use that voice and put everybody on a level playing field so that everybody has to play by the same rules. This unintended consequences, not only are you getting feedback from the retailers, staff, a public survey that are saying, whoa, pause. We don't think that this is the right issue to be attacking right now. 57% of the respondents said this isn't something that we're ready to tackle. I was at a meeting with, 15 retailers that this clearly affects, and this is a big deal. Not only will it confuse our consumers, it's going to hit like half of our population, is scared to go outside and go shopping. These guys are running on razor-thin margins, and we're going to put this in place at like the worst time of their business cycle. I just think that there's so many indicators that the community is not ready for this, but we have a lot of resources. The Sustainability Commission, educate our community about the reusing of the bags and things like that. Not only is it going to be confusing for the consumer, we get a 1% grocery tax that we enjoy from those sales. When those sales disappear because they're going to go to South Elgin or Bartlett because they don't have to pay for a bag or be confused about if they're going to have to pay for a bag, that money goes away. So let's use our resources, work for a state solution, and make everybody here have a level playing field and listen to not only staff and retailers, but our community, and do the right thing. Thanks.
Thank you. Tom Armstrong?
Hello, Mayor, City Manager, members of the City Council. Tom Armstrong, 615 Center Street, Elgin, Illinois. I chair the Elgin Sustainability Commission. As a few people have already indicated, this is an issue that's been batted around by the Sustainability Commission for many years now. It finally, it's come before you a couple of times since I've been on the commission. The last time, you directed staff to prepare an ordinance that mirrors legislation that's moving through committee in Springfield. That legislation that's moving through committee in Springfield is actually sponsored by our own Senator Christina Castro. I appreciate comments from the business community. I think this is an issue that needs to be addressed sooner than later. To hold out hope that legislation is going to be passed in Springfield, I think is very risky. This has been tried before in Springfield, and in the end, nothing happened. So, you know, hopefully the state legislature adopts a state law. But what's moving through committee now wouldn't take into effect until at the earliest 2029. So this draft ordinance is modeled after that state code that's moving through committee, and we would urge that you take action now and adopt the ordinance locally. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. First item is a redevelopment agreement with South Grove Holdings LLC for a mixed-use redevelopment at 61 through 65 South Grove Avenue. The proposed agreement with South Grove Holdings contemplates redeveloping the vacant building at 61 through 65 South Grove Avenue into ground floor commercial spaces and second-story apartments. The total redevelopment costs are estimated to be $5.1 million, and this proposed redevelopment agreement contemplates TIF assistance of about $1.75 million, or 35% of the redevelopment costs. The plans propose 6 apartments on the second floor, a studio, 4 one-bedroom units, and 1 two-bedroom unit. The 3 apartments on the Spring Street side will be set back from the street to provide private rooftop patios. 2 commercial spaces in the residential lobby will be fronting the South Grove Avenue elevation, and 2 additional ground-level commercial spaces will be on the South Spring Street elevation. The basement of the building will include a commercial kitchen, meeting room, and storage spaces, and this fully accessible building will include an elevator for the first time, in addition to all new electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems. As many of you know, the roof of the building partially collapsed in July 2024 and again in August 2025 under previous ownership. The developer has already spent about $750,000 to stabilize the building, embrace and preserve the historic facades on Grove and Spring Street. Representatives from South Grove Holdings are here in attendance tonight to answer any questions, along with Community Development Director Mark Malott, who has once again shepherded a adaptive reuse in the downtown to the council for consideration.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? Any questions? Ms. Powell.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Captain. I see Mr. Echevarria in the audience. I just want to say kudos to you. Please definitely come forward. I'm really excited about this project. For as long as I can remember, this piece of property has been vacant, and I'm excited to see that it's finally being redeveloped and will be, obviously put back into reuse, back on the tax roll, well, still on the tax rolls, obviously, but I'm really excited to see everything that's being planned here. This is a big bite to take, as I'm sure you're already aware, but I really appreciate your continued reinvestment in our downtown. I know it hasn't always been easy, but we definitely appreciate your efforts and definitely looking forward to seeing this come to fruition. So I just wanted to publicly say thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Ms. Alfaro.
I'll start off with my I echo what Tish was, Councilmember Powell was saying. I'm excited that this project is happening. And you're also addressing some of the needs that that we have in the community, lack of storefronts, housing. So I appreciate that both of those parts are into this project. Do have a couple of questions. The first question is, if I understood the materials correctly, it seems like the entire building would be fully ADA accessible?
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you. That's great. And then the other question I had, in the design, it looks like there's 3 storefronts versus 2 storefronts. So is it 2 storefronts and then the entrance for the residential? Is that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Okay, thank you for
On
clarifying.
the Grove side.
On the Grove side.
On the
Okay.
Spring side, there's only 2.
Okay,
And there's an entry stairwell door. So there are 3 doors on
Okay.
the Spring side, but one is a stairway to the 2nd floor.
perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. And then the last thing was just on design. I saw that the 4 tenants on the first floor are all sharing the bathrooms, which makes sense of the way it's designed, but I was just curious, do you think that would be enough? I don't know what you're anticipating. I know you mentioned food might be in those spaces. So I'm just thinking, like, if there was a lot of people, like, would you open up the basement bathrooms? Because I saw there was 2 down there.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So there's 2 in the lower level, there's 2 on the first floor.
Okay.
Obviously, everything on the 3rd floor is private for
Right.
the residential. But the elevator is accessible from the interior corridor.
Yeah.
And so there is overflow space in the lower level for that.
Perfect,
Yeah.
thank you. And then a question for staff, 2 questions for staff. Thank you, Mark. One question is, I see that they're proposing, like, completely, everything's new, like the mechanical, the
Yeah.
electrical, windows and doors. Given that it's a historical building, are you still going through the historical design committee?
No, because the local historic commission, preservation commission, doesn't get involved in downtown design. However, because he is going for state and federal tax credit, all the work, he's already initiated conversations with the State Historic Preservation Office, continuing those conversations. So there is certainly a strong historic component that will be included with this project.
Okay.
Just to touch on that a
Yeah.
little bit, there's essentially like 3 phases. We're already in the 2nd phase with historical tax credits. We've submitted, we haven't submitted the full construction set, but they have already seen the existing plans, kind of the schematics of where we're at. And those have been submitted and moved on as part of a phase 2 application process. So our phase 1 was already approved. It's now kicked up to the state. They just approved it recently, and then now it's on the federal. I think it's the federal parks that oversees the federal side of the application.
Congratulations. I know that process takes long, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for sticking in there with that. And the last question I had for staff was, there was information on, like, interest parties, and, like, reaching out. It indicated that a video was posted
Yes, ma'am.
on social media. Just curious, and, like, why was that the intention for community outreach? And then what did people say about the video?
Sure, it wasn't the sole topic of that social media post. It was a year-end wrap-up of everything development-wise that had happened in 2025, as well as what we're most looking forward to in 2026. And I'd be happy to send you a link. I appear in a Santa hat.
Did anyone mention anything about the building and stuff? I think everyone's excited that it's finally going to be, like, accessible and used, and I love the patio design that you have for the back. That's great.
I personally heard several people say that they're very excited about the project, and in talking with Mr. Echeverria, he too has received a lot of positive feedback, similar to what Councilmember Powell was saying. Thank you, finally, somebody's doing with this building.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Thorne, you had your hand up previously?
I just wanted to say thank you as well, being, I love history. I love downtown Elgin. Grew up there, and basically studying this project, I want to thank Kevin for believing in us, and we believe in him. The TIF amount is consistent with what others have received, but I think it was at the point where either we're going to help them or the building's going to disappear. So it's a rather drastic option. But I want to thank you because it's a great facade, and keeping the downtown's integrity with the classic old structures is to me important to me, certainly to many. So thanks. I know you've worked well with the city for many years.
Thank you.
If I can add to that, there was, kudos to Kevin and his construction team, there was a period of about 2 weeks where we really thought we were going to lose the Spring Street facade, and they went above and beyond to save that, so.
It's evident.
It's anchored right now.
Mr. Dixon?
Thank you. I want to echo some of those same sentiments as my colleagues. And I'll just add, this property was a blight in our downtown for a very long time. And so you coming in and remodeling this and redoing it and getting ready for market again is just really a testament to who you are and what you've done with 51 South Grove. And just who you've always been in this community. And so we just really appreciate your investment. And I also just want to point out that this is a family affair. Miss Yesenia Echeverria is the manager of the holding company, and she is he's strong, but I bet you she's stronger. All right, and so thank you for your time and your effort in this community too as well, in making sure that your roots are stabilized here and that you're giving back. And so again, congratulations. We look forward to this property being wonderful, the one across the street that you also purchased being wonderful too as well, and we know you're getting that one ready for market, or it is ready for market, and just continue doing the great work, man. So we're really proud of you.
I
So thank
appreciate you pointing that out. None of this is possible without, we've always been building here with family.
Yeah.
And so being able to do this project along with my wife, and the kids are excited about it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Avia if you're watching. It's happy birthday. She's not here. She didn't want to come. It's her birthday, but if you're watching, happy birthday. And having our girls here to see the process, and my wife here, and just we're working it together. And I get to see it through one lens, and she gets to see it through another lens, and we can hold each other accountable to get the project to the finish line, and that's the goal here.
Yeah, and I would just also like to point out that family-owned businesses are the backbone of not just this community, but our entire country. And, so you just really make us proud, continue to do the great work and to be running a wonderful business that everyone frequents here. So thank you again.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ortiz?
Yeah, Mr. Dixon beat me to it, but I want to agree with him that I appreciate the Echeverria family doing what they do, and I'm most proud that an Elgin kid like you and me, that you're putting back in the community and back into the city that helped raise you. So I appreciate you and your family doing that. And that's pretty much it. Can't wait for you to open your doors, and I appreciate you staying in Elgin and giving back to the city that helped raise you. Thank you, man.
Okay, anything else from the council? Ms. Martinez?
Thank you, Mayor. Kevin, I'd just like to also say thank you, and for those people who don't know, your family goes a long way. I remember starting with the restaurant business, and that was very successful. And then now with the Dream Hall, it's happening right there. I feel sometimes it's like the heart of the downtown. Anytime I want to meet with somebody, that's a place that, people want to meet. You see everybody there. It's kind of hard to get excited, I think, until we actually see it happen, but if you continue what you've been doing, I do not, what can I say, then I'll get excited, But right now, I'm pulling for you, so thank you.
Okay, anything else? Mr. Stepp?
I just wanted to quickly say, Kevin, thank you, and thanks for sticking with this project, being downtown and seeing you in Dream Hall, and you freely sharing the saga that this building has been. I clearly understand that, the roof collapsed before the closing. It wasn't even yours yet. You could have certainly taken that opportunity to just walk away from this and leave it for somebody else to figure out how to make it happen, but you didn't do that, and it looks like it's finally going to come together and really succeed. So thank you for sticking with it. Thanks.
Okay, anything else? Just a comment from me, Kevin. I always enjoy talking to you and doing business with you. And I'm a man of my word, and I assume you are as well. I know you are. And I appreciate your comment in the agreement here. I didn't see it in the final development agreement, but you have agreed to put a cap on this, and if there are any funds above and beyond this, you're going to cover them yourself as a developer. And that says a lot for you. So that's taking a big bite. That can take a big bite. But I believe the TIF money that we give, 35%, may be a little higher than average has been.
It's in the range.
Yep, in the range. So that hopefully between your efforts and the city's efforts and the finances that you're going to receive, and hopefully you get a lot of grants for historic grants to help out, we'll get the job done. So thank you for that, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you all.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0. Congratulations.
Item B is a design and engineering services agreement with Upland Design Limited for Channing Park improvements. Parks and Recreation leadership staff recognized the need for significant upgrades to Channing Park. To address these needs, the city partnered with Upland Design to apply for and actually receive an open space and land acquisition and development grant in the amount of $600,000 of matching funds. This will enable the city to construct new park amenities, including replacing the outdated playground equipment, enhancing community access and accessibility to and within the park. And as part of this OSLAD grant application process, city already has conducted work with Upland to prepare preliminary park plans based on community feedback gained from both a postcard survey and on-site public meetings this past August. If this agreement is approved, staff will continue working with Upland to refine the park improvement plans for comprehensive design services for this project. The professional services contemplate landscape architectural and engineering design, permitting assistance with bidding process, and construction management, with the goal of completing all work in 2027.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? Ms. Alfaro.
So the interested parties contacted and indicated that there was a postcard and the meetings, as the city manager has indicated. Do we know if any of that was also done in Spanish?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
It was, excuse me.
Perfect. And do we know anything about the response?
The preliminary designs that are being contemplated are in response to the feedback that was, that the Parks Department received as part of those surveys and the outreach within the area.
Okay, but we don't, like, can you share a little bit of specifics or maybe send it
Well,
to me
it
later?
includes the replacement of, I don't have specifics
okay.
in that,
No, it's okay.
but all of those
Okay.
broader replacements.
Okay.
So the final design in terms of like, yes, the final amenities to what the playground will look like, those types of things.
Okay.
There will be one more round of communications
Okay.
to make sure it's there.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
And I appreciate that we were able to get this grant. That's awesome.
That's something that the Parks and Recreation Department does on a regular basis,
They
yes.
did a great job.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, the motion's approved 9-0.
Item C is a design engineering services agreement with HR Green Incorporated for the City Hall Parking Lot Sustainable Design Project. The city received an Illinois EPA Green Infrastructure Grant funding assistance to include sustainable construction practices aimed at reducing stormwater runoff and pollution discharge in conjunction with traditional parking lot improvements in the City Hall lot. Approving this agreement will provide for the engineering services necessary to complete the final design, prepare bid documents, and award the construction contract. If approved, construction will include green infrastructure best management practices to prevent, eliminate, or reduce stormwater runoff into the rivers, streams, and lakes, including rain gardens, permeable pavers, native plantings, and an oil and grit separator. Plans also include construction necessary for underground infrastructure to prepare the site for future EV charging facilities. This grant was in the amount of I'm missing on this. Don't hold me to it. All right, here's how I'm going to deviate on this. The green infrastructure improvements total about $700,000 of the $1.5 million cost. The Illinois EPA grants will cover $534,000 of that. Sorry for the delay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and second for approval. Any discussion? Ms. Alfaro.
So I know what we're requesting is $116,311 for the engineering costs, but on page 90 of the packet, it says the city's share will be $528,191, which includes 25% share of the green infrastructure. So is that what we're anticipating, the total project, once the engineering's done, and then we put the bid and all that?
Total project would be 1.2, and again, we're getting about 534 of that, and that includes a proportion of the engine. We're getting 75% reimbursement, and that includes all costs for that.
Okay, so, but what we're just doing is engineering, and then the other
Design.
costs will come, that will total?
That is correct.
Okay.
This will be the phase for the final plans to go out, construct the bid, and then the city council will make determinations on the bid awards.
Perfect. Thank you.
Assuming they come within budget.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Thorne?
Thank you, Mayor. I guess it's a question for city manager. I heard you describe the fact that out of the 1.2 total expense, over 700,000 is really addressing the green initiatives or the green services. Could you expound on that?
Sure. Again, there's a cost for these initiatives. The grain gardens are a $350,000 expense. The permeable pavers, about $250,000. The oil and grit separator is $60,000, and the native plant gardens are $66,000. Those items are outlined there. Again, this is, including those components as part of this, is what enabled the city, though, to receive that $534,000 grant out of those $700,000 in costs that I just described.
So essentially, a lot of this expense, though, is because we are becoming more green-oriented and looking at the green team and supporting the sustainability factors.
That's accurate. Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is basically an immediate measurable project. So as they're talking about the bags later as a green thing, this is another green thing on the same agenda.
It is consistent with the city's sustainability initiatives. You are correct, council member. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Ms. Powell?
Thank you. Congratulations to staff on securing the funding to help support this green initiative. I didn't see where under interested persons contacted that, that the Sustainability Commission was involved with this, but obviously a lot of them are here this evening, so you're aware of this now and obviously support it, so that's nice. I'm, again, excited to see this move forward. My question relates to maintenance around the permeable pavers and snow plowing operations in the parking lot based on the design. Can someone speak to, I don't know if Mr. Pubens is here, and I meant to call him earlier today to ask this question. I didn't get a chance to, so kind of sorry to spring this on you at the last minute, but it's a question I have in terms of, is there a difference in maintenance for this type of design?
The plowing, unless the permeable pavers become uneven, it will obviously create problems and those issues. The issue with any type of permeable paver is it's a brick that operates like a sponge. And what makes permeable pavers work is the ability for the water to infiltrate and go through those. So there is a higher degree of maintenance that is required to ensure the porosity of the permeable pavers. But that's something that was contemplated. This won't be the first instance. It certainly won't be the last instance, I should say, in which we will be looking for applications of permeable pavers. It's just something that goes with the territory, particularly in the Midwest, where you have more opportunities for salt and other grit to become enmeshed in the pavers. But we'll manage it.
All right. So can we use salt on these? We can?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Stefan?
Thank you, Mayor. I had that question, but it was just asked, and another one that I also didn't get a chance to ask is, I'm looking at the map on page 2 of the memo, and when I saw this the first time, I didn't see it, so I wanted to ask, I'm assuming we're going to keep that pedestrian aisle through the center of the parking lot that comes off the sidewalk in front of City Hall and goes all the way across through that allows pedestrians to walk through the parking lot over to Highland.
Correct.
Okay, that, I didn't see it, I see the brakes for it, and I just wanted to make sure of that. And then, I did the math, that I think Steve was trying to struggle with. It's, the total project is the $1.2 million. $350,079 is the parking lot. That's just the basic redoing of a parking lot with no additional, upgrades. And as the memo says, the green infrastructure is a $712,450 expense, of which 75% is covered by the grant that the staff got and obtained for this. So a vast majority of that, $534,338 is paid by the state grant, and the city's obligation is $178,112. So I had to do that math because I wanted to see the same numbers that I think Councilman Thorne was kind of hinting at and wanted to see too, so.
And it's a good question. With the map that's depicted in the memo just shows the green elements. It doesn't include the pavement markings. So, I mean, your question's valid, but that will remain the same. And as the council may recall, this is the model, this was the middle model that was presented, and it minimized the number of parking spaces that would lost in order to accommodate the green amenities in the parking lot.
That was it, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0.
Item D is a design engineering services agreement with Hampton, Lenzini, and Renwick for the West Side Streets Resurfacing Project in 2026. This work will be focusing on streets in the city's west side that includes Todd Farm Drive and Court, Countryside Drive, Braeburn Drive, Lawrence Avenue, Heine Avenue, Triggs Avenue, Sexauer Avenue, Hoxie, South Lyle Avenue, Maple Street, 2nd Street, Erie Street, Mosley Street, and Oak Street. The resurfacing will generally include pavement milling and resurfacing, ADA sidewalk access improvements, and minor drainage and sewer structure maintenance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? Ms. Martinez.
Thank you, Mayor. I was wondering specifically on the streets of South Lyle, Maple Street, 2nd Street, and Erie Street, they don't have sidewalks, and I was wondering if maybe there could be like a weight limit because they don't have sidewalks, and it's really residential. If that would be something that maybe they could look into doing, if possible.
I don't think that would be likely without the creation of a special service area. Those were areas that were developed at the time without the provision of those additional amenities. If the residents in that area were interested in having those types of improvements, that's typically, it comes with the creation of a special service area.
Yeah, I'm not asking for sidewalks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not
I
at all.
misunderstood.
All I'm saying, because they don't have them, maybe we should consider putting weight limits on that for trucks or.
On the street.
On the streets.
Because there's no sidewalks?
Well, what happens is because there's nothing really to hold, I'm not an engineer or anything, but the street, you know?
Okay.
And what happens, it starts breaking, with the heavy trucks.
I'm sure that Mr. Poobens is listening from home, and if there's an ability to do that, we'll be able to take into that.
If
Sorry for
anybody-
misunderstanding you. Okay.
If anybody can find a way,
That
it
is
would be
true.
him.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the
No,
misunderstanding.
no worries.
Okay, anything else? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0.
Item E is acceptance of public improvements in the Randall Point West subdivision. This subdivision was originally platted in 2007. Final plat included 8 lots, along with portions of streets known as Galvin Court and Galvin Drive. Those public improvements have finally been completed and are now ready for acceptance. City will be taking over ownership and maintenance of streets, water mains, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, street lights, street signs, sidewalks, parkway trees, and all of their associated appurtenances.
Move for approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0.
Item F is the acceptance of public improvements in the Tall Oaks Unit 3 subdivision. This final plat contemplates the construction of 106 single-family homes. And for those that don't know, the subdivision is located south of US Route 20. It's east of Russell Road and west of Shannon Parkway. Public streets within the subdivision include Sweet Flag Circle, Hedgerow Drive, Honeysuckle Lane, Current Lane, and Winding Hill Drive. The public improvements have been completed, and the city will be taking over ownership and maintenance of streets, water mains, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, street lights, street signs, sidewalk, and parkway trees.
Move approval. Second.
It's been moved and second for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call a roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0.
Item G is discussion and proposals relating to a retailer's single-use plastic bags regulatory structure. This evening, we're going to be hearing presentations being led by Sustainability Manager Kristen Ifner, who is already at the podium, her colleague Jessica Van Dyke, the City Sustainability Coordinator, and Tony Lysenko, the Director of the Elgin Development Group. Rather than me wasting time talking to you with an introduction, we'll go right to the experts with this and begin with Ms. Ifner. How are you, Kristen?
I'm doing good. Good evening, Council. So as we've heard from some of our residents in public comment, after about a decade of discussion and research, last spring in April, the Sustainability Commission recommended Council consider a single-use plastic bag ordinance. At that time, Council directed staff to draft an ordinance that mirrored Senate Bill 1872 that was being discussed. That's also a ban on single plastic bags and a fee on paper. From October through the end of the year, my colleague Jessica and I did community outreach to get feedback from our businesses and residents. So we are here tonight to share that feedback as well as present policy recommendations and get direction from Council for next steps. So taking a look at the proposed ordinance, this would apply to all retail stores in Elgin. It does exempt restaurants, or it doesn't apply to restaurants, it exempts gas stations as well as small retail establishments. This is defined for small retailers. This is exempting stores that have less than 12 locations in the state, and then they employ 250 fewer employees, full-time employees in the United States. If enacted, this ordinance would ban plastic checkout bags in store. And it would also place a fee on paper checkout bags and would also allow customers to bring in reusable bags. The fee would be fully retained by the retailer, and customers that are enrolled in WIC or SNAP would be exempt from the fee. When we were, before beginning outreach, we wanted to take a look at retailers that would be potentially impacted. This ordinance is intended to be applied to big box stores and chains, so that is who is primarily on the list. We did also want to include and look at stores that are not necessarily chains but are larger in Elgin, so that we were just thorough in getting feedback. In looking at the list, we do realize in recent months there were a few stores that had either closed or been sold. So should this ordinance be adopted, we would look to verify the list of retailers. And so I am going to turn it over to Jessica, our city's sustainability coordinator. She will share our outreach efforts and what we heard from the community.
Hi, thank you for that introduction, Kristen. So I'll be going over the community outreach that we conducted for this project. So city staff conducted a multi-channel public engagement process to gather feedback on this proposed ordinance. Outreach efforts included an Engage Elgin webpage, community survey, social media announcements, and tabling at community events and local retailers. To the right, you'll see the results of our survey, where we received 2,185 responses. 57% of respondents opposed the ordinance, 38% expressed support, and 5% requested additional information. The survey was offered in both online and paper formats, as well as in both English and Spanish. While survey results are not intended to serve as a statistically representative sample of the community, they do provide valuable insight into community perspectives and reoccurring themes throughout the engagement process, which we'll dive further into on this next slide. So getting into themes from the survey, opposition primarily centered around concerns related to cost, equity, effectiveness, and practical impacts, rather than disagreement on environmental goals. Many respondents noted that checkout bags are often reused at least once before they're discarded, and some indicated that they would consider shopping outside of Elgin if restrictions were implemented. Supporters, on the other hand, emphasize environmental protection, litter reduction, public health benefits, and alignment with the city's sustainability objectives. Additionally, approximately 5% of respondents indicated that they needed more information before forming an opinion. And these comments generally expressed an openness to reducing plastic use and supporting environmental goals, but sought clarification on policy details, how equity concerns would be addressed within this ordinance, and evidence of effectiveness of bans and fees. So overall, the feedback from the survey reflects a shared interest in long-term environmental goals and outcomes, even where perspectives differ on approach. And then lastly, this slide covers some more details on the in-person engagement that we did for this. So this highlights community outreach efforts led by staff from October through December. We organized and attended 8 outreach events across Elgin. These included both larger community events like resource fairs, but we also did pop-up tabling at retail locations like Walmart and Butera. This approach allowed us to really meet residents where they're at, both in community spaces and in the places where they would be most directly impacted by this ordinance. At each event, staff provided paper copies of the survey and tablets so residents could easily share their feedback in whatever format they were most comfortable with. And on the right, you're going to see a list of locations where paper copies of the survey, flyers, and more informational materials about this proposed ordinance were made available. With that, I'm going to pass it off to Tony from EDG to discuss the business outreach that we conducted.
Thank you, Jessica. Members of the City Council, thank you for the opportunity to say a few words here today. It's been a real pleasure to work with the City of Elgin and with the staff. They've been most cooperative, and I think we've done as best we can to try to reach out to most of the community. I wanted to say a few things. You know, I've been involved with this since 2022, and I was the person who went out and met with all these 42 and identified these 42 businesses. I walked into their stores, I talked to their managers, I tried to figure out if we had everybody, and we invited those who remained after 2 years to a meeting on October 9th at the Elgin Area Chamber offices. And we had 7 attend and 11 that I've been corresponding with since this came back in October. Just to give you an idea of how much work we've done, not only did we help to coordinate the meetings at, or the outreach efforts at some of the grocery stores and department stores, we had over 400 emails that I have personally since October in dealing with issues, or let's say responses from various businesses. Many of these businesses, though only 7 attended, are national corporations. A lot of the local managers do not feel comfortable talking to the city council, and on behalf of their national company, they're not in a position to do that. I would say that the vast majority of these companies are against this. Not only are businesses against this in the community, you just saw the results of a survey that showed 57% of over 2,100 respondents were against this. You know, we're led to believe that this meeting was going to occur on February 25th. A lot of the retailers did not come today because They were not prepared. They had other meetings. Some went on vacation. Some went for business meetings out of the community. Mr. Kozel, in our attempt to find out when this meeting was going to occur, kind of dropped this on us last week, and we did everything that we could to get businesses to come, but we weren't able to. On this slide, you'll see that basically these core reasons for that retailers are against this are found on page 6 of your memo. Very well written. It actually hits the major points. We've been hearing these points for months now. I wanted to tell you that there's one company here, one department store that wasn't able to come that I think you should hear, and that department store is represented nationally. And this gentleman worked in California for a similar department store, and that neighboring community of where his department store was, his community enacted a similar ordinance to the one you're considering tonight. And what happened was that they lost around 25% of their business to a neighboring community. Now, what happened eventually in California was that the state of California adopted a statewide law. Even though it was supposed to level the playing field, it actually didn't. And they never saw those people return to their community. And it was a substantial business. So I would caution against you moving ahead on this tonight. I would respectfully request that this be deferred until the next meeting so that we can bring to the table those people who are expressing their interests in not seeing this go forward. Let me tell you, in my what I've learned in dealing with a lot of these department stores and a lot of these retailers here in Elgin is that they do a lot of environmental stewardship you wouldn't even believe. I mean, they take their packaging, they recycle it, they recycle the plastic that their packaging comes in as recycled. They go above and beyond what you might think. So out of respect to the companies, out of respect to you, I would think if we could maybe postpone this until the next city committee of the whole meeting, I would respectfully request that. So, and that's all I have for tonight. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Ms. Ipner, finished?
Before we get to questions, I want to go through our recommendation. And the recommendations made considering the time and research the commission, as well as staff, have put into looking at science-based best practices when it comes to single-use bag ordinances. We also are considering feedback that we have received from the community and businesses, and also paying attention to conversations that are going on in the state with legislation. So we're recommending 2 policy options for you. The first option is to defer action or adopt this locally. Should the decision be made to defer action, this would still allow the city to monitor progress that's going on with state conversations and align if there's any standards that are adopted. The defer approach also avoids any immediate implementation costs from the city and minimizes the risk of placing local retailers at a competitive disadvantage. It also preserves our ability to revisit this should the state fail or this stall again. So it's still keeping this on the table. If this option is chosen, the city will still continue to move forward with other priorities in the climate action plan, as well as the city's strategic plan and their environmental initiatives. It is worth noting for Senate Bill 1872, it does remain unenacted, meaning that its final form and timeline remain uncertain. And as far as we know, there's no indication that this will be picked up again. Should council decide to adopt the proposed ordinance, we do recommend an effective date in 2027. From listening to other communities, it's really important to be deliberate with implementation, provide enough time for retailers to prepare, as well as staff and residents. And so this gives us time to, as staff, develop a communication plan and provide education. So it is clear on what is coming and what the different rules and regulations are. This approach also allows to do an equitable distribution of bags. This adoption, I think, as I said, aligns with the Climate Action Plan and city initiatives. Adoption of this would place Elgin ahead of surrounding communities, and this kind of echoes the concerns that we have received from community members and businesses that this could create competitive disparities. This may also be an opportunity, though, for Elgin to be a leader in sustainability. Adoption would require implementation resources from the city, such as enforcement capacity and education efforts. For this first year, we are estimating cost to be around $18,000 to be able to provide impacted stores signage to post to alert customers of the ordinance, as well as the time to create education and enforcement for implementation. So with that, I will open it up to council for discussion and questions. Yeah.
We need a motion. Mr. Thorne?
Well, I'm hearing everyone, certainly hearing Mr. Lysenko, and I really agree with his request. I'd like to motion that we postpone this for just one meeting, just 2 weeks, till the next council meeting.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone the meeting till the next council meeting on the 25th, correct? Any discussion? Mr. Dixon?
Thank you. Just for clarification here, if we were to move forward with action tonight, this would come back in 2 weeks to City Council for the second vote? Is that correct, City Manager?
It is, but it would go to the regular agenda.
Right.
And that doesn't always necessarily leave an opportunity for further discussion. We typically use the committee of the whole, as you know, for the working
yeah, I'm
session. But yes, it would be back on the regular agenda, either consent or otherwise, in 2 weeks.
Okay, and what I'm just trying to point out with that is we have to have 2 meetings on this any way it goes. Yeah, we're going to vote on the motion, but I also want to put something else out there, regardless of how this vote goes. I think the state doing something and doing more seems to be the sentiment of regardless of if you're for it or against it. And so I would like to see us as a council, as a city, write to our legislators in a unified letter encouraging them to act. So if, I don't know if we already have a motion on the floor, but, I would like to, probably make that motion afterwards so that regardless, we're still, asking the state to act and to step up. So, and I'll reserve the rest of my questions. I just want to get that business out of the way.
Anything else? Mr. Good?
Well, yeah, so I guess all the comments regarding the work that's been done, I'll reserve that for right now, I guess. So is it the intention that postponing this for one meeting allows the folks who are not here to come and say their piece? But is there anything specific right now? Because I had specific questions for the business community as it relates to their operations. So is the intention that we use this time to firm up those questions to that specific stakeholder group and then have those questions next meeting? Or are we just going to basically, are you asking to just put a pause, pin in it right now, no conversation? Because I guess if it were to be delayed for that stakeholder group to arrive, it would probably be a good use of time for us to figure out what we want to ask them specifically.
That's the reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate that we let, they're the people that are going to be impacted the most. And it's not fair to have too much discussion without them being here. So I think it's best to defer the discussion for 2 weeks. And to Mr. Dixon's point, we can have that discussion and talk about any conversations we need to have with state legislators, whether personal or from a letter from the council. I think that's probably the appropriate thing. And just delay this discussion for 2 weeks and have it on the 25th. Mr. Stepp?
I guess I'm opposed to that. I would rather take action today as somebody who's been personally involved in kind of this issue. I would support the concept that Councilman Dixon is proposing, that this has to come back anyway. There's two, it has to come back twice, first on committee of the whole, then on the regular council agenda for final approval. So there is time next 2 weeks from today when it would be on the regular council for further discussion and a second vote, which is the usual process. I guess I had a lot of ideas and comments, but that's all I'll say right now, since there seems to be a motion to postpone this for 2 weeks.
Okay. Anything else? Ms. Alfaro?
So is it if I understood correctly, business owners were informed that this was going to be at the last meeting of February prior?
You want me to say?
Yep.
Yes, the discussions when the city staff began conducting its outreach, we were talking about late January, February at the latest. As more business was involved with the city, we were able to communicate. It looks like it's going to be the last meeting in February because of the city's decision to delay discussions on the Welcoming City Ordinance, which has now been moved to the 25th, shifted this discussion to the 11th so we could fill the hole that was set in the schedule. And so again, when we made that decision, I called Mr. Lysenko. He did what was, I believe, everything that was necessary to bring the constituents that he has been working with during that time period. And unfortunately, there were too many scheduling conflicts to be able to have them here this evening.
Thank you for sharing that. That helps me in my decision-making, because if we did tell the community it would be on a certain date and they made plans. I agree with Councilmember Stefan. I don't think we need to continue waiting, but I will be respectful to the community that we told them. But I also want to say this impacts not only business owners, this is impacting our community. Plastic is really polluting our earth. And who knows how many more years we'll be able to breathe as properly, climate change, all sorts of things. We're seeing the impact of plastic in our community. So something needs to be done. The community itself as a whole was notified as of Monday night. So I would suggest both sides to come out then if we do move this to the end of February to really let us know what you're thinking. And Tony, I'm more than willing to meet with any business owner to chat more about the ordinance and everything, so feel free to share that with any of them. But I agree, we probably shouldn't wait, but just to be fair to the community, I just will say then, we do have a lot of stuff on the February 25th agenda, so it might be a long night depending where you're on that agenda. Just forewarn you.
Ms. Martinez?
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Ifner, if you can please change it to the opposers and the supporters. If you look at this list right now, you know, the people who are in opposition, and just read why they're in opposition, and then you look at the supporters, you know, I believe in my heart that the opposers, for the reasons that the supporters are supporting, they feel the same way. You know, it helps the public health. It supports, you know, to reduce litter and plastic. Nobody's disputing that. But I think that it would be beneficial and fair to wait, because what the supporters are saying are things that, you know, we all know and believe. And the opposers, you know, they're not opposing because they don't believe that. They just oppose it because how it affects their business. And, you know, I think I will also reserve my comments that I have for the next meeting as well. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Dixon again.
Thank you. Kristen, when it comes to the survey itself, and we see the results, I think during the presentation, you were saying that people would consider shopping outside of Elgin. That was some of the information that you heard back. Was that anecdotal information, or was that actually inside of the of the data?
So in the survey, there is an opportunity to put comments on on your opinions or why you're supporting and opposed. And so this was reflected in the comments, so I would say it's more anecdotal. I will add I have reached, between Jessica and I, we have reached out to communities that have passed this ordinance, and at least this is also kind of anecdotal, that they have not seen any significant decrease in sales tax. So it's just something to consider.
Okay, so we don't have we don't have a feel or a true percentage of people who responded to the survey of saying, I'm going to go elsewhere if this is enacted. We don't have a number.
I don't have an exact percentage, but that was definitely a strong theme and reasons or reactions to this proposed ordinance.
Okay.
And along with the survey, Jessica and I were doing in-person outreach, and that was also reflected in some of the conversations that we had. And we heard a variety of responses, but for those that were against it, there were comments of, if this is passed, I would look to shop elsewhere.
Okay, and what were the dates that the survey was open to the community again?
It was open, so we kicked off outreach BD with the retailers. The survey was open, I believe the next day, so October 10th, through the end of the year.
Okay, and is it accurate that the survey isn't gated, meaning you can complete it as many times as you want?
Sure, so yes, the survey, you can take it from a variety of platforms like a computer or cell phone, and this partly was designed if you're a resident is taking this at home and they want to pass it on to their spouse or a neighbor, there's an opportunity to take it. So it could be taken multiple times. I would look at the results as just getting a sense of how the community is feeling about this type of ordinance, and then taking note of what their concerns and feedback are. Again, that can help direct your decision if this goes forward. It's, concerns to think about, and then if you decide, state that, again, it's just concerns to think about as you're making your
Okay,
decision.
so it wasn't gated, so you can sit and take the survey as many times as you want, over and over and over again from your phone or computer or whatever you're using. Okay, all right, and is there a margin of error with the survey then?
I didn't do an official, scientific review, but I did. Yeah. I was able to see the raw data. I can't see locations, but you can see the address. I did not see any pattern of the same address taking the survey multiple times in a row.
Okay, yeah, because I what percentage does that occupy in this survey? I mean, we don't know that right now. Is that something that you may be able to find out in the next couple of weeks, or will we have to hire a data analyst to kind of drill this down?
I can look into it. I can't guarantee if we'll get a clear margin of error, but that's something I can look into. And again, I would look more into the results of, again, where the community is in general standing, and then just looking at their feedback and reasons why they're in support or.
Yeah, and I certainly respect that, and I appreciate it, but I also have to consider that a single user can take the survey over and over again, and while 2,100 respondents is nothing to laugh at, certainly, how many respondents were there actually? I think we should know and consider in this, because if it was gated and it was just a one time, like if you it's connected to the IP address, you use it one time, that's it, then we're not even having this conversation. There's not even any questions, right? But when it's not gated, anything is possible at that point. So I just wanted to get some clarity on that. Okay. I just wanted to say for the public and for the business owners, I took time out to go to many of the businesses that are on this list and to sit down with the owners to sit down with the managers and to look them in the eyes and have this conversation to see exactly how it affected their business. And I want to thank Tony for helping me set up those meetings, and Carol back there who's hiding behind Tony for setting up those meetings. I really took the time out to go meet with these businesses and to speak with those employees. And so the feedback that the business community is receiving is significant. But I also want to say I've also sat with community members and the green groups, and I've been hearing from the commission over the past decade that you're saying. And so I've listened to and taken the time to listen to everyone. Kristen and I, we met and had a great conversation around this a couple of months ago, knowing that this was coming down the pipeline. So this is definitely not a decision that I take lightly, and I respect everyone on both sides of this. And ultimately, I would just like to see the council do what's best for the entire community for the long haul. But let me be clear. I would like to see us take action tonight, knowing that in 2 weeks we could continue the conversation, and business owners and pro no plastic bag groups and individuals could still come forward and make their arguments. But given that we said that we were going to do something, and then we weren't able to do it for X or whatever reason, things happen. I definitely respect that too as well, and I want to be able to have a full conversation considering every single thing from folks on this issue. And so I want to say thank you to all the green groups, to the folks who are here. Thank you to the business owners, Tony, Carol, for all of your work that you've done. Mike, even for your comments too as well, and all the work that you've done over the years with the business community is certainly appreciated. So I guess we're going to go ahead and have a vote and
Everybody's
decide
done.
our path forward.
Anybody else? Okay, Ms. Powell.
I'll try to be brief. Want to thank everyone, want to thank staff for the presentation and the public outreach. Want to thank Tony and Carol from the Elgin Development Group for your work with the retail community. I've had a chance, obviously, to speak to, I didn't sit down with everyone probably like Councilman Dixon did, but I have spoken with some of the retailers, heard their side, spoken with community groups, members of the Sustainability Commission, and heard their side. A couple of things I will say. Banning smoking in public places wasn't popular when we did it, but it was necessary. The institution of the Environmental Protection Agency in 1970, that great year that I was born, and the numerous regulations that came forth with the institution of the EPA wasn't popular necessarily at that time, but very necessary. So there are plenty of things that we do as local government at the state level or at the federal level that are unpopular at the time, but are very necessary for the long-term consequences of our community, our health, and our environment. In a matter of 60 seconds, you can go on the internet and Google microplastics and the impact that microplastics have in our environment and on our health. It's right there. It's in plain sight. I will even read just a little small blurb. A growing body of research has observed microplastics in animals and humans. Recent studies have concluded that most people are ingesting a credit card size worth of plastic each week. This plastic is coming from food sources like fish and other wildlife and makes its way up the food chain. Another leading cause of microplastic consumption is bottled water. A staggering 93% of bottled water sampled worldwide contained microplastic particles, and it just goes on and on. So I definitely sympathize and hear what the retailers are saying. But when I go to Sam's Club, when I go to Costco, I don't get plastic bags there. People grab boxes, put their stuff in there and move on. When I go to Aldi's, people grab boxes at Aldi's and move on. Or they bring their reusable bags. Or if they're like me and have the reusable bags in the trunk of their car and then forget to get them out of the trunk of their car when they go into the store, then I have to make a choice. Do I go back out to my car and get them? Or do I just fork over the 12 cents it's gonna cost me to buy that paper bag at Aldi's that they do sell? It is a matter of changing behavior. And if we don't press the issue and cause people to think and change their behavior, not just with this small thing of plastic bags, we're going down the wrong path. And 50 years from now, where are our kids and our grandkids going to be in terms of suffering from all types of negative health impacts that we're even seeing right now because of plastics? So I feel like this has to be a start. It's uncomfortable. And I'm actually a little disappointed that it doesn't really go further, that there's too many outs for certain retailers in our community to not have to participate. I am interested in giving folks time, that, aren't here, but I feel like we can do that, keeping this on the agenda, moving forward, taking a vote tonight, and assuming if it passes, obviously, folks still have the ability to comment during the regular committee meeting, but we got elected for the hard stuff. This is one of those hard things. And if we don't take ownership, because let's face it, the state has been bouncing this back and forth with numerous different bills introduced for the last decade, and they can't get it together. So we can't think that the state of Illinois is going to save us. I mean, it would be great if it was something enacted statewide. I completely agree. But that's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. So as the 6th largest community in the state of Illinois, I think this is a huge leadership move for us. There are other communities that have successfully done this. We're not operating in a bubble. I think there's sound examples and research and ways that we can do this that will have that hopefully we can have a minimum impact on everyone involved, including the retailers. So I'm in favor of keeping this on the agenda and moving forward with this tonight. I realize we're way past our 7 o'clock time, so if I would recommend, because I'm sure that there's probably some more conversation that takes place, but I guess my ask for the mayor is if I'm assuming we're going to take a vote on Councilman, thank you, Thorne. It sucks getting old. Councilman Thorne's motion.
That's correct.
That if, depending on how that goes, that we can recess and then come back and finish.
We'll have the vote first, Ms. Powell. Let's do the vote.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Alfaro?
Point of clarification, so the vote is just to postpone it, just
The vote is
put it
to
on the
delay
committee of
for
the
2
whole on the
weeks.
25th?
Yes.
Okay. Then yes.
Dixon?
No.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
No.
Stefan?
No.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, the motion passes 6-3. We'll delay this for 2 weeks. At this point, let's see. We'll finish announcements from council, and then we will take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll get back at the regular city council meeting. Okay, announcements from the council. Ms. Mark Alfaro.
I just want to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. We're celebrating American history, Black history in America, and so I just want to wish everyone a happy Black History Month. In addition, I want to give a shout out to all the youth who are participating in democracy, who are participating in the high schools, the middle schools, who are doing their walkouts, just voice their opinions of what's going on in our country. And so I want to give props to our youth who are standing up right now. Thank you.
Ms. Powell.
Thank you, Councilwoman Alfaro. I echo those statements and wanted to make a couple of announcements related to Black History Month. The building we are sitting in is named after Bob Gilliam. And for those of you who don't know who Robert Gilliam was, Bob Gilliam was the first African-American elected to the Elgin City Council in 1973. And he proudly served this community for 40 years. He is one of the longest serving local government officials in the state of Illinois history. Bob unfortunately passed away, I want to say in 2015, but Bob's legacy lives on in this community, and he had a huge impact on where Elgin is today. And I had the pleasure of serving with Councilman Gilliam for the first 2 years of my tenure here on the City Council, and his leadership is definitely missed. I want to also make a couple of other announcements related to Black History Month. Some activities that are going on that are open to the entire community. As Councilwoman Alfaro mentioned, Black history is American history. The City of Elgin will be showing the movie Hidden Figures on Tuesday, February 27th at the Hemmons at 7 p.m. Free of charge. If you haven't seen this movie, it's an awesome movie about Black women who were involved with NASA behind the scenes. Gail Borden Public Library, if you go on their website, they have a whole list of activities and things and events that are going on at the library. The Elgin History Museum on, what date is this? Sorry, I don't have the date, but if you go on their website, it's called Abolition and the Underground Railroad in Kane and DuPage counties. It's at the Elgin History Museum, I want to say on the 22nd. It's on a Sunday. Engage, Educate, and Empower is on Thursday, February 26th from 5 to 8. It is sponsored by the Open Door Clinic of Elgin, and it is Black HIV and AIDS Awareness Day. And actually one more thing I wanted to mention was the African American Coalition of Kane County is doing a mob up at Sunshine Cupcakery, which we'll hear from earlier, actually in just a little while, located on McLean Boulevard. It's in the plaza at the corner of McLean and Bowes Road, and that takes place on February 21st, 1 p.m., and that is done to encourage folks to support locally owned Black businesses during the month of Black History Month and every month of the year. So those are my announcements. Thank you.
Any other announcements from the council? Announcements from staff?
None, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, we are adjourned. We'll reconvene in 5 minutes at 7:35 with the regular council meeting. of the Elgin City Council for February 11th, 2026 to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
to the resilience of our people. It is why customers often mention feeling welcome and inviting when they enter in our doors. We aim to go beyond just selling cupcakes and truly offer each customer a little bit of sunshine, because we know how brutal the days can get, especially today when our communities are being threatened and our neighbors are being kidnapped. Sometimes something as small as a cupcake and a smile can go a long way. It is difficult for me to stand here and not acknowledge what's happening in our community and nation as a whole. King said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." It is important for us to continue to support systemic changes, to create more equal opportunities for everyone, for all communities. Systemic problems require systemic solutions. Change must come. I also want to acknowledge how unlikely it is that I am standing here today. I was born at the height of the crack epidemic, in poverty. My father sold it and my mother used it. This era destroyed many Black communities because of consequences of slavery, systemic racism, segregation, redlining, police violence, psychological warfare, and environmental racism were already widespread, and there were so few opportunities for most Blacks. So either you sold it to make ends meet, or you used it to escape your realities. I don't want to get into too many details of the ugliness of that era, or how the war on drugs, one of the most unjust criminal laws in history, further destroyed Black communities. I don't want to talk about the government's involvement or the aftermath of the inequalities, but I do hope Sunshine's Cupcakery's presence can help break some of those negative stereotypes. Even though I grew up in violence, I've always been able to hold on to joy, to humanity, to the belief that if I show kindness to the world will be kind to me. If I worked hard, I could change what statistics said my life would be. I know the game is rigged. I know the game is rigged, and I was never supposed to make it. But here I stand, beating odds that should have never needed to be beat. We often see stories of Black success and figure, if he or she did it, if they did it, then they can all do it. But people never will fully understand how many layers of oppression we have to fight just to grab a crumb of success, how systemic factors are always at play, and we have to get creative. Bottom line is, we have come far, but we still have so far to go. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, you must go together. So Elgin, we need you. We need you all to consider Sunshine's Cupcakery for your next events, because it is the community that will help us keep our doors open. We're located 1012 South McLean Boulevard. Show up and shop small.
If I could please ask George's brother and his group to come up. Dean, Mary, Mac, Star, please come up. Mike Warren, could you take some pictures? My colleagues on the dais know that this indeed might be a challenge for me. It's certainly a very proud moment to be able to read and present a proclamation to one of the best friends anyone could ever have. Whereas George Rawlinson has long been a steadfast and valued member of the Elgin community, demonstrating an enduring commitment to service, integrity, and community engagement by offering time, talent, and leadership in service to his neighbors. And whereas through consistent volunteerism, civic engagement, and spirit of generosity, George strengthened community bonds, supported local institutions, and inspired others to contribute to the common good. And whereas George Rawlinson was the owner of Elgin-based State Street Publishing and the imprint Can't Miss Press. And while serving on the board of the Chicago Writers Association for 8 years, was best known for its members as the creator and organizer of its literary bus tour. George, possessing an encyclopedic knowledge of the Chicago area and its history. And whereas George Rawlinson was a prolific local journalist and was recognized with the Chicago Writers Association Spirit Award in 2018. And whereas George Rawlinson received the City of Elgin's Mayor's Award in 2008 in recognition for his publishing numerous books on local history, and in 2018 was conferred with the City of Elgin Mayor George Vandevoort Outstanding Service Award for his continuing volunteerism and support to Elgin, its history, and its future. And whereas during his acceptance speech for the Elgin Image Award he received in 2018, George emphasized his spirit of giving, quoting, "You give without remembering, you receive without forgetting." George called love the unifying characteristic of Elgin. And whereas George Rawlinson's efforts reflect the very best qualities of civic responsibility, compassion, and perseverance, serving as an inspiration to all who have had the privilege of working with or knowing him. Now, therefore, I, Stephen Thorne, on behalf of David Captain, the mayor of the City of Elgin, Illinois, do hereby resolve that the City of Elgin hereby proclaims its deep appreciation for George Rawlinson and honors him for his exemplary service, leadership, and commitment to the community. Let this proclamation stand as a public expression of gratitude for his contributions as an encouragement to others to follow his example of civic responsibility.
I'd like to say thank you to Steve for putting this all together, and for the council, Mr. Mayor. I really appreciate it. My brother is definitely going to be missed, but never forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could say one last thing. It's a clear example of it's not when you die, it's how you lived. George lived a wonderful life.
He did.
Brings us to the point of the council meeting of allowing public comment. First person for up to 3 minutes. First person to sign up is Bob Johnson.
I'm here tonight as an Elgin resident for over 27 years. I hold in my hand a paper with close to a dozen names of people killed as a result of the administration's immigration initiative by DHS and ICE. It is by no means a complete list of their murders. I'm reminded of my grandfather who fought in World War II. He was in the second wave on Normandy and was subsequently assigned to the liberation of the concentration camps. He was at the time a 17-year-old soldier of Austrian Jewish lineage. Some of his family had escaped Austria after World War I. I, as a young child, saw the pictures he took from those concentration camps. I remember them till right now. We are now faced with a masked government enforcement militia claiming to be law enforcement. They are hunting our families, friends, neighbors, and coworkers. Their crimes are well documented and are done with impunity to a level that they are emboldened to murder people in broad daylight while being recorded. We must stand up for ourselves. We are being attacked by our federal government. This is not a time to hide. They are here. They will increase their numbers as they deploy from Minneapolis. We must do everything in our power to protect ourselves from this lawlessness to our fullest ability. We must enact this welcoming city ordinance. We all can see this has been absolutely nothing to do with immigration. We cannot be weak when our community is being persecuted. Elgin must be on the side of what is right. There are only two sides, as anything less than all we can do is the wrong side. This is a huge issue because it's an issue of right and wrong. I want to live in a city that chooses the right path. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy Carlson. Jeremy Carlson. He's no longer here. LaToya Johnson.
Hello. This is taking me lots of courage to come up here, but I feel I have to as a concerned citizen. On last Thursday, it's probably not going to be popular what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. I ran into a bunch of kids, babies, that looked no more than 12 or 13. And me, as being a mother of a young child, my heart sank and I began to shake. Because the first thing that I looked at, why aren't these children in school? And they were flooding the streets. Now, I was on Highland Avenue in front of the Highland Grammar School, and immediately I didn't see any adults with them, and my mother instinct came in. I wanted the babies back in school, so I rolled down the window because, like I said, I see no chaperones, no adults. These were children that were flooding the street, and just as that man sentiment in our whole country, politics is somewhat being a hot-butted topic. Anybody, any lunatic could have flooded those kids and ran into them with a car. And this is what had me shaken, because we're about safety. I proceeded to tell the kids, you should be in school, and like my mother instinct came out, because that's what I seen them as my children. I grew up here in Elgin. I remember this community when I was younger. Aunties, uncles, grandparents, if you were down the street, somebody told the neighbor what was going on, and that's what made our community safer. Unfortunately, when I did finally see a person in a safety vest, they didn't seem really attentive to the children, and then adjacent there was like one cop blocking a street, but these children were all on their own. We already know that there is a lot of things happening in this country. I'm not saying that these children were coaxed by any, faculty or anything, but the encouragement is to have parents and guardians do this in a respectable way for protesting, to make sure that everybody's safe. I felt like it could have been done on a Saturday. We already know literacy rates are very high. Kids can't even read, let alone do math. This hurts our country in a systemic way, because now we have adults that can't even read at the level. If you can't interpret information, you can't even discern what is real and what's fact. I'm from a generation, I don't want to say how old I am, that there's people that can't even tell reality. They can't even tell like what is actual truthful. And if that's so dangerous if you can't interpret and read on your own. So with that said and done, I too have had military people. My brothers have fought. My father has fought. I have people in the cemetery on my dad's side that have fought. I don't think we want a nation where kids are not in school and they're being weaponized. And so I reached out to a social service agency and he agreed. He was actually investigating, wanting names, wanting the school. I couldn't give him everything. I'm just a citizen. He did put it on his notice. He did put it on his superior as investigating Elgin, wanted to know which kids were truant to encourage that this doesn't happen again. He thinks that this might happen again. He is taking record. I will not say his name again. And that is the concern. It's infuriating. I love that men in this country stand up for putting themselves against when there's something going down. Where were the adults? Where were the men? That's what I'm saying. Children should not be used in this way. I seen in San Francisco them using 5-year-old babies to protest. These kids don't know anything. And so I believe Elgin is above this. We are a righteous community, okay? And he was talking about right and wrong. I believe that a righteous thing, adults on a Saturday when it's more, appropriate to have these discussions so that there could be accountability. And if anything does go down, at least the adults are there, and that's on them. But like, again, as a concerned mother, and I'm still shaken by that, and I could not believe that. And I can't believe, I don't want to age myself, but I can't believe that this is happening now. I just feel like, yeah, we are supposed to be above this, and Elgin is above this, and we're not like the rest of the nation. And Thomas Orwell, you can look it up, explaining why borders are protection. And I love the fact that we are protected in this nation by borders. I'm seeing SA in so many other countries. And me as a woman, I love being able to walk down the streets without feeling scared and being attacked. And these babies don't know how much darkness is out there from other places. But yes, I do agree. ICE can be, told and should be told about certain parameters that they're taking. But again, I look at their end, and they don't have help from a lot of people to enforce laws that we teach children right and wrong and how to abide by laws, and we even ourselves follow rules and laws. So, I mean, this has been with the other administrations, but I'm not turning it to political. I just want to stick to the facts that I just felt like kids were not protected at all in Elgin.
Please start wrapping your comments up. Ms. Johnson, please be aware that Chief Lowley has started to address that problem. She's gone out and had some meetings, and we are aware that the manager and I were just talking about it at 5 o'clock this evening. So thank you for your concern. We have no bids this evening. We have no other business, so consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and second for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0. Miscellaneous business.
Move for approval?
Second.
It's been moved and second for approval. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, motion's approved 9-0. The next committee of the whole meeting will be Wednesday, February 25th, 2026, at 6 p.m. in the City Council chambers. The next regular meeting of the Elgin City Council will be Wednesday, February 26th, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Wait,
Moving,
we're adjourning back to, are we finished?
we're finished.
We finished, that's right, we did.
Today was a good day.
Today was a good day.
Like Ice
To
Cube
executive
said.
session for the purpose of discussing employee relations. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmembers Alfaro?
Yes.
Dixon? Good?
Yes.
Martinez?
Yes.
Ortiz?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Stefan?
Yes.
Thorne?
Yes.
Mayor Captain?
Yes, we are adjourned.